and welcome back to the Weird and Proud podcast. It's Sam and
That was like even
Gorgeous.
outside
I know.
in the rain, your voice just
We are
slaughtering it.
live from Fiji, CYCLONE and jams. Yeah, we don't know. We did a couple checks. Hopefully the rain isn't too bad. We were sitting outside. We also do have a video component, so if you want to see us sitting outside in our robes with our rum drinks, cheers at 10 a.m. in Fiji, you too can watch on our YouTube. And yeah, we're just chilling in our robes in our little like outdoor bungalow in Fiji right now. And if you've been following along on Instagram, you probably might have seen, maybe, that we are in the middle of a cyclone. So
What's the song? What's the theme song?
you move her body like a cyclone, and she makes me wanna do it all night long.
Was that the one you were dancing to earlier
That was.
when I walked out on the deck?
I was twerking for the cyclone. I thought maybe if I did a dance, it wouldn't hit and kill us.
Wouldn't hit and kill us?
And it is funny, like a couple of you have mentioned the movie The Impossible, which is like, if you haven't seen it, it's a really good movie, and it's based on a true story of like this family that goes on a vacation in like somewhere in the Pacific. I think it's like, actually, I don't know if it's in Thailand or one of these islands, and a tsunami hits. And it's like one of the most dangerous like tsunamis that's like ever hit that area, and like they have to evacuate, and I'm like, we are literally in a movie right now. But
it might not be a movie yet. It's in pre-production, and we'll see if they approve the content.
SAG-AFTRA,
We'll see what the weather does to help us get approved content.
Exactly. So anyway, so if you hear a little rain, that's because we're in the middle of a hurricane and
tropical depression. We're only in a tropical depression.
And
how do we make it happy? Like, why is it depressed?
I know. I'll give it some of my antidepressants. Throw some of my pills in the water.
Needs more rum.
It needs more rum. Needs some gummies.
You don't need pills, just rum.
Yeah. So this is a Fiji episode. Obviously, we're in Fiji. I had a bunch of you guys submit questions. I've been getting so many questions too. When I've been posting on Instagram and on TikTok. So we have a list of questions we're going to go through, answer some questions about Fiji while we're in Fiji, just drinking our rum drinks at 10 a.m. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. So it's a little bit different. We're not going to do the secrets this week. We're not going to do the weird news, really, because the weird news is that we're in Fiji in a cyclone.
There's plenty of weird stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and we have a little prompt for you guys too for your vacation weird stories at the end. So first of all, biggest question, how did we get here to Fiji?
That's the question that
like getting? What was like, we'll kind of start at the beginning.
Plane.
We did.
Done. Next question.
So all in all, like everything from like door to door, like leaving our house in Stamford, Connecticut, getting to the hotel in Fiji was probably about 30 hours of traveling.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's accurate.
Like, because literally we have to take an Uber from Stamford to New York City, which is like an hour and a half, wait at the airport 2 hours. Then it's a 6-hour flight from JFK to LAX to Los Angeles. Then we have about like a 4-hour layover, which does take that long because you have to, like, we had to get our luggage, then go back through security, go back through the check-in process, drop our bags off, and then go through customs. So it's like, you definitely need like 3 hours. Like, first I was like, oh my God, we're going to be stuck in LAX for 4 hours before we get on our next flight. But we really need that much time. We could stretch our legs, brush our teeth.
And the bartender took forever to get us our drinks, so we needed that time too.
Yes, exactly. He did. And then the last flight is Los Angeles to Fiji, the main island. So there is a main island that's like obviously the largest of all of them, and the capital is called Nadi, Nadi, and that's where you fly into, and also where a lot of the ports are to then take you to all the smaller islands around. So really the big kind of hurdle was going LAX to Nadi, which is about an 11-hour flight. And then once we get to Nadi, we had to go to the port, which is like a 15-minute Uber ride. and then we have to get on one of the cruise
It was
little
about a half hour.
ferries. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was more like a half
The
hour.
guy was great though.
Yeah, and we got to drive through Nady and kind of like see the downtown, like the main island.
And he gives you a great little tour about the country.
Yeah, yep. And then we took about a 2-hour ferry to this island, and we are technically on the island of Malolo, which is one of the Mamanuca Islands. It's kind of like to the east.
Did you make that up, Mamanuca? Or is that real?
No, it's real.
You really know a lot about Fiji. You've done
literally
well.
been studying. I'm like kind of obsessed.
You've done so well.
I was telling James, whenever I go somewhere, like I really just want to learn like everything about it. Like I was like, there's something about just learning the history, like sitting in a place and being like, okay, what was here 200 years ago? Like I've been learning about like all the tribes and like doing all the research on like the history of the island, which I'll tell you about in a second, which is fucking kind of crazy. But yeah, so once we got here, we're at a resort called Liku Liku, and it's an all-inclusive except for alcohol. So all of the food is included, coconut water, like basics water, obviously. They have all filtered water, all Fiji water. They just make you charge, pay for alcohol, which it is a little expensive, the alcohol too, because just like shipping everything here is so expensive.
Yeah, it can't be cheap for them to get this stuff here.
Yeah, like, if you think about it, like we literally are on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like I keep saying continent, obviously it's a country, but New Zealand is like really the closest, biggest country, biggest island.
Australia is the biggest continent.
And really Australia is the continent, but those are still like a 4 or 5 hour plane ride. So like it's still like a good trip. Like we are really
we ain't
in the middle.
Swimming there.
Yeah. You can't like take a ferry there. Like you have to take a flight. So yeah, so that's how we got here. And again, we love the resort. The resort has been amazing.
I can't say enough good words.
Yeah, and the biggest thing too is obviously everyone's like, "How did you figure this out?" We did. I have a friend who's a travel agent. So basically, when we were planning, we were like, "Okay, it's our 10-year anniversary. It's my birthday." We always try and go somewhere in November just because it is like kind of a perfect time to go. It's, again, it's our anniversary, my birthday, it's like fall, getting cold in Connecticut. So it's always like our favorite time to go somewhere. And I had a friend who's a travel agent, and first we were thinking maybe the Galapagos Islands. That's also been on a bucket list.
Huge list.
But it's a lot of fucking work. Like that's also a trip that like you need 2 weeks. And like there's really it's pretty complicated because there's all reserves, so like you have to get passes, you have to have like a ranger with you. It's really like it's pushing like $15,000 to $20,000.
There's a lot more regulation on it.
A lot more regulation, and it's just like more of like a travel busy trip. Like once we're looking at it and all the details, it was like, oh, we're gonna be on the go like 24/7. And even though that definitely is still a place, yeah, we want to go at some point.
Now we know more.
And that's something to really like plan out. But she was like, if you really are looking for like an exotic vacation that's bucket list, worthy, there, I've heard amazing things about this place in Fiji. And it's, relatively easy. Like, obviously there's islands farther away that take you like 4 or 5 hours to get to from the main island. And this is kind of one of the closer islands to the big island.
Yeah, you can see the big island.
So yeah, we can see the big island from where we are. And it's just gorgeous. The resort itself has only 46 rooms. So 92, people total at this resort. So it's White Lotus coated. It is like, you feel like you're in like this, it really is kind of like a boutique luxury resort.
Here's how I've come to describe it.
Yeah.
Tell us. Here's one of the things that I've loved from the time we got here. I'll do a little recap of our travel here. When we did get in, even getting coffee at the main island, right?
Yep.
They were so wanting to share about the Fijian culture.
Yeah.
And like, hey, here's a coconut. Like they give you a fresh coconut for breakfast. They're like, oh, bring it back and I'll cut the meat out of it for you.
Yeah.
Like they go the extra step on everything.
Yeah.
Then on the trip over, the Uber ride, he shared so many details about the country. And you could just tell he talked with such pride and almost like honor of
Yeah.
being able
Being
to
from here.
share all that, even though he probably does it 1,000 times a
Yeah.
week, right?
Yeah.
But then everywhere you go, there's this certain level of Fijian pride. They all have such pride in their
Yeah.
country, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And that's one of the biggest things I like about how small this was
Yeah.
versus even when we've gone to Jamaica. It's a smaller resort we stay on. It ain't
Yeah.
huge,
Right.
but it is hundreds of people versus like
Versus less than
80.
100. Yeah. Like,
You almost feel like it's an authentic Fijian experience.
yeah.
Of course, it's very elevated and bougie,
Yeah.
but you do feel like you're part of a village.
Yeah. Like, it really feels it feels rustic, but it's
It's
luxury.
not
Like,
luxury rustic.
luxury.
Yep.
Yeah. Which
Whatever that is,
seems like
it's like glamping. It's when people think they're
Yeah,
camping in a
yeah.
fancy camper.
Yeah.
That's what this vacation is, but you very much have a local experience versus like if we stayed in
Staying at
other
like a
countries,
Marriott, you know, or somewhere.
you have a resort experience in a country.
Yeah.
I feel like we're still experiencing the country just being in a resort.
Yeah.
It gives
Definitely.
it a better feel.
Yeah. Yeah, like the island we're on, I think they said is like 15 miles long, 20 kilometers.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's the second biggest island.
Yeah,
in
it's pretty big
Fiji,
in
I
this
think.
area.
One of
And
them.
it's one of the biggest in the area. And there's 2 local villages, like villages that have been here since the 1600s that have no electricity, run on solar panels and water filters and
Rainwater. They
rainwater.
harvest rainwater from the roofs of buildings.
Yeah, most of the water they get is from rainwater, which that was a big other question because people are like, "Oh my god, Fiji water! Like there's Fiji water everywhere."
No.
And 80% of Fijians of these Fijian islands do not have fresh water, and it's because they're islands, so like there's no fresh water source. The Fiji water, like the label Fiji water, actually is from one of the big islands that produces a ton of this fresh water. So like there just happens to be this one island in Fiji. I forget what island it is or if it's the main island.
So I think it's the main island.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big questions I nerded out with the guy on was just water in general.
Yeah.
Because here, again, on the way here, we asked about, what are the quote unquote seasons you have?
Yep.
They have 2 seasons, rain and not rain.
Yep.
That's
rainy
it.
and non-rainy.
When
Yep.
it's rainy, they never have to worry about water. But in non-rain, a lot of these islands aren't big enough to support a lake.
Yep.
They don't really use dams. They don't like to disturb the environment that much,
yeah.
which I respect. But they don't do that stuff just to produce fresh water for people.
Yeah.
However, them being volcanic islands, there can be groundwater, although they don't seem to like to tap into that too much.
They don't, but
That's
except
the
there's
next
like
thing.
this one, again, I think it even says on the back of the Fijian water bottle, it says what island I think it is. And I think it's one of the other really big ones that has like this water source.
Okay.
That has a ton of minerals from the volcanic, whatever.
Every one of these islands is volcanic. So.
Yeah, right. So it has all these natural minerals in it, and that's the water they bottle. But all of these other islands, 80% of them do not have fresh water. So it is like kind of one of those things that's like, oh, that's funny that like, everyone thinks of Fiji water. But like even with some of these really small islands, like if they don't have the ability to make water, like they get water delivered. Like at once a month, these huge barges will come and like deliver these massive water tanks. And like that's, or food. Like a lot of them too have to go back to the main islands for food. Or again, they grow it here, which is the other really cool thing about the resort is they have their own, like they almost have their ecosystem. Like they almost build their own little ecosystems on these islands where like they, all of the food that's basically given to us while we're here is all from the fresh garden that they have in back. They have like a lot of these islands too, like have their own chicken coops, so they get all their fresh eggs. Obviously, we have been eating a ton of seafood.
Yep. And
all
pig.
the seafood is and pig. A lot of pig. There's a lot of
feral
wild
pigs.
boar and wild pigs.
Not on this island.
Not on the one that we're on, but a lot of the local ones. And so all of the food is like fresh, local, and that's also been really cool. And obviously, like we've been having so much coconut water because we're surrounded by coconut groves, and there's just like coconuts everywhere.
There's 2 green coconuts we're staring at right now that we could just go
and
grab.
they'll just like you'll just be walking and they're like, you want a coconut? And they'll just like chop it for you. So we have definitely been staying hydrated and definitely been staying what do they call it? When you like shitting a lot. when you be shitting.
The runs?
Not the runs.
It's not that bad. My poops are very healthy. I've had very healthy
You're
Fijian poops.
you're not smooth. You're, there's like a word that most people like. I'm very, fresh. We've just been shitting a lot, especially because we've been having so much fucking fruit. There's so much fresh fruit here.
The papaya here is like candy.
The papaya here is next level. I've never had papaya like that. Obviously, if you've been watching my Instagram too, I've been trying passion fruit, which is a little sour, a little bitter, but so fucking good for you. Like the fruit here is like packed with vitamin C. Like passion fruit is one of the best fruits that like you can eat with the fiber, vitamin C. So we've been eating a lot of fruit. So we be shitting.
I feel like we've got off to a pretty bougie start on this podcast. I'm glad we just talked about pooping and stuff.
Yeah,
let's find
what
some
the
weird
people
questions.
really need to know. Okay, so one of the other, well, obviously, like I was just gonna say too. Overall, like, what are your like pros? Like, what are the worst things about the place? Best things? What are your like top 3?
I don't know if my brain can come up with worst.
Yeah, or like cons. I wrote a couple.
What's yours? You might need to give me
cons,
examples.
The time change.
Okay, that's a big one.
So, because of where we are in the world, we are technically 17 hours ahead of where we live in Connecticut. So, right now we're recording this podcast so I said it was 10 a.m. on Monday, November 13th. So actually, so we're 17 hours ahead. So at home, it's 5 p.m. on the 12th. So it's last night back home.
My brain just blew up.
Yeah. So we're 17 hours ahead here. So the time change is really funky. When we go to dinner at night, it's 7 p.m. Like most dinner starts at 7 p.m. That's 2 a.m. for us. So like we're pretty much going to bed. Like we don't last very long after 9 p.m.
I've loved the time change. We're up at like sunrise every morning.
Well, it is, and then it's kind of nice because we're up at like 4 a.m. So we get to see the sunrise every morning, and the best snorkeling. Like James has had the best snorkeling
every
like
morning
6,
around
7 in the morning.
Yeah, around between 6:30 and 7:30.
Which the sunrise is around like 5:36. So, no, more like 6.
Sunrise is about 5:30.
5:30. So that has definitely been a challenge, and obviously it took a while to get here. That was the biggest con. Also, I put down Fiji time.
Fiji time is interesting.
Can be good
I
and
can
bad.
100% respect Fiji time.
Fiji time, like
they have no urgency for anything.
Like a lot of the islands are like, Jamaican time, like whenever we go to Jamaica, like, things just move slower. Like Spain, like we talked a lot about how like people just move slower there. They take 2-hour naps in the middle of the day. Here is the slowest. Like you go get a drink and it takes them 30 minutes to make it. Like there's no such thing as like, oh, let's just go grab a drink really quick. Like it's like you need to sit down, have a chat, then they'll like slowly make it.
We went to go play volleyball with some vacation friends. We all make vacation friends. I'm sure you guys do too.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, we're going to ask you all about your vacations later. So you've been like, hope that while you're listening, I kind of feel like we're giving you one of those half boring slideshows about our vacation, which we'll try and spice it up a little bit here. But we went to go try to play volleyball, which is on the schedule. They have on the schedule
like an activity
3 p.m. volleyball. Not one day at 3 p.m. did we see people play volleyball.
Yep.
We spoke to some other couples. We're like, let's go play volleyball at 3 p.m. It took them till after 3:30 to find one volleyball for us to use.
Yeah.
Fiji time.
Yeah, and finally at 3:30, they're like, oh, here's the volleyball. We finally found it. Like 45.
We stuck around and we got to play a little bit.
So that like everything is very, very slow. Like even like check-in, we were hoping to like check in early. Like it took us like 2 hours for check-in. But everyone's so friendly, like the nicest people, and like obviously the best service. The service has been amazing. But it is like everything, like even like when we, like there was like an event where they had locals come and do local dancing and singing.
That was so cute.
And it was supposed to start at 6 and like it didn't start till like 7, and they're like, Fiji time.
Fiji time. I'm fine with it.
Everything takes forever. Nothing is on time. So that's just, obviously something to get used to. Then obviously it's very expensive. A lot of people asked about James's slurping his drink, about pricing. So obviously just the flights itself, like, this is very, like, behind the scenes, but the flights itself are like 2,000 per person. So that's $4,000 just in flights, maybe a little bit more. So the flights itself are crazy. And then obviously like all the transfers and stuff too, and Ubers and the ferry. Um, the resort is pricey. It is a 5-star resort. And it was about like 5,000, 6,000 a person. Now, I will also say we are here in the rainy season. Obviously, it's raining and cycloning. And it is definitely a once, bucket trip, once in a lifetime trip. And as you guys know, like so grateful to be here. Like literally cannot believe we're here. And it's, we don't really spend money on
On things.
physical things, but we do love to travel, and like we really haven't been on a vacation of like just really with nothing, no work stuff. So
No work,
or
which we
shows or
love, work and family stuff.
yes.
But it all involved work or family,
And
which is
shows and
great.
stuff. Yeah, so this has really been kind of a time for us to just kind of relax and yeah, and then of course we get stuck in a cyclone, but that feels on brand for
That
us.
song "Cyclone" is going through my
There's
head,
a
even though I don't
movie
know
on
the
the
words.
morning like a cyclone. Also, we talked about our vacation friends. This place again is very White Lotus. Um, we've met a couple couples that like I literally like in my head I'm like we are in White Lotus, or like we are in like a TV show. Like we've met like a very very rich couple, like that woman that was from India who had
Yes.
like family, like really rich family. I'm like, oh, her husband's gonna kill her. Um,
Can I tell about the federal agent friend?
we met an
I can't
FBI
say what
agent.
bureau he's with. Jesus, what are you doing?
Well,
You
FBI.
you're gonna die before the end of this. You do not know how to keep strategic secrets. So let's talk about that. One of the things about also that I love about the Fijians is how proud they are,
Yeah.
but they also don't hide anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to circle this story back to why Sam just blurts things out. So up until the 1700s, somewhere in there, they were still practicing cannibalism here. They were still eating people in the 1700s.
Yes.
And many times they've mentioned how important the chieftains are. There's a chief who's the chief of 10 islands in this area. And they give Sam the torch to light one day, and she starts yelling, "I'm the chief." And I'm just waiting for them to come out just to go back
And like
a little feral and murder her. Like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the history of like the island is like they tribes back in the day, like they practice cannibalism, they practice voodoo.
Loved how proud they were about it too.
Yeah, and
They
they
didn't
like
care.
they talk about it, but because they've changed so much now, and it is like very Roman Catholic. Like they are and
Yes.
very, very religious. And now, like when we went to the village, we had to completely cover up the women.
Women did.
Like I had like you couldn't show your knees, so like I had to wear a long skirt. I couldn't show my shoulders or my arms, so I had to like wear a long sleeve shirt. And it's like very, very different. But yeah, in the 1600s, 1700s, it was.
And again, they shared how proud they were that they did feel that the church helped their communities. Even though, back in the 1800s, they were still, didn't you read
Little
about some
feral
visitors that came here and they murdered some of them?
I was looking, so I started doing some research. And I'm like, okay, when did like the UK, America get involved? The UK, there was an expedition, England, back in 1840. I literally have been doing like research, like historical research. They came and visited this island. They were doing like they were just trying to explore more of these islands, and this huge ship from the UK came here in 1840, and the tribe that was here, they kind of like were fighting, like they kind of like stole, I guess, like some of their food supposedly. So then these UK or England folk literally murdered like half of the village and like burned it to the ground. And so it started off rocky, but then like they really helped, they colonized them basically. I mean, whether colonize is a good or bad word, but they, it feels like the Fijians here are really, really supportive and like really appreciative of the like the British now
I
and how much they've like
at
brought
least
to the
that's what that
islands. At
side
least
told
that's,
us. I'm
you
sure there's a
know,
whole nother
I
side.
know. It's like, who knows? Like, I was looking up, I'm like, what's the dark history here? Like, I want to know, like, the dark, like, because I don't know, they couldn't be that happy that the British came and just, like, colonized this whole island and kind of took over. But they are also very appreciative of these resorts because so many of the people that work at these resorts live in the villages. So, like, this is basically like work, like it gives them a job
The
to get money because
part
they
of the
can't make
village and
money.
part of the Fijian government owns these resorts.
Yeah, the
It's
local
their
Fijians
revenue
own these
source.
resorts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like, we did the village trips where we went over and visited them, and you know, we probably spent like $200 there, like just giving them money and buying little
A little,
trinkets
just
and
a little
stuff.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a good way.
So like,
We were happy to do it.
there's no other way for them to make money unless they go back to the mainland and like get like a job there. But there's no jobs around here. Your job is mostly to like help clean or cook or plant or.
And one of the other things I loved was in the village, the tour guide that was giving us the tour said people have the choice. They can go work.
Yeah.
Or they can just live in the village as long as they find a way to contribute to the village.
Yeah, they're like, the only thing you can't be is lazy.
Because they even said it with the trees. There's like, and again, this goes back to what I hope we start thinking about things like this in America. Space in nature can be very important and helpful.
Yeah.
Every tree they had in the village had a function. He's like, this is the lemon tree. Then there's another sister lemon tree with it. There's the orange tree. There's the papaya tree. These are medicinal trees that we grow that have medicines that we use. Like, they're like, the trees aren't allowed to be lazy. Like, I love that line.
Right. Yeah. It was really cool. So, I don't know how we got here from the FBI.
I know where we did, because I was saying how I felt like the chief was going to cut your head off for yelling
because
that.
I can't shut the fuck up. Because I just blurred things
out. I promised him we wouldn't say what agency he was with.
Well, we're not saying his name. I doubt he's even going to listen to this.
I'm making more out of it. I'm making way more out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as we don't say anything else about it. But he had some crazy stories.
He had some great stories, and he's very much he was on protective detail. We found out he was a big fan of the opera. How he did that was he was in charge of guarding a Supreme Court justice. That was one of the tasks he was charged with.
Yeah, like one of the, like, you guys would all know who it was.
And that person used to love to go to the opera all the time.
Yeah, he was like Secret Service.
He also remembered everybody's name, like when he met them once. Yeah. Like he was well trained for this.
Yeah, crazy memory.
And again, just talking about vacation friends, spoiler alert, we're going to ask all of you what have been your best vacations? What have been your worst vacations?
Yeah, we want to know your weird
We want your
stories.
stuff too. And this agent also, apparently his new wife, they're on their honeymoon. Her boss got his car stolen. And he, the agent, who barely knows her boss at all, remembered his license plate from memory because he had met him one time.
Yeah, and like memorized
and just happened to know what his license plate was. Helped her boss find his stolen car just from his crazy memory. Those are some vacation friends we met.
Yeah, those are like the people we've met. Like, it's kind of crazy. And there aren't a ton of Americans here, obviously, because it takes so fucking long to get here. So a lot of Aussies, a lot of people from New Zealand. Obviously, this is a big vacation spot for like Aussies, New Zealand, because it's 4 or 5 hours. Right? It's like our Mexico. It'd be like
it's our Mexico or our Jamaica.
Yeah,
depending on what coast you're on.
And someone was asking too, like, what do we think the biggest difference is from a place like this, from like going on our trip to Jamaica?
And that I don't know, because we always go to our favorite resort down there, Sandals, right?
Yeah, and which is a big, like, very kind of corporate-y place.
I'm going to repeat what I love about this place. I feel like we're getting a somewhat local island experience.
Yeah.
Versus a resort
very
experience.
Commercialized,
and we just happen to be on an island. Yeah. Like there in Jamaica, they bring local talent, but it's like, so last night at dinner, the local church choir came and sang for us for like 12 minutes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
When we've had other speakers, they talked to us about iguanas for 45 minutes.
Yeah, we learned about this whole, like, their conservation efforts on the island. Like, we literally went to like this like PowerPoint slideshow because we wanted to learn more about the island. And it's really cool. They're like rebuilding coral here. They are rebuilding the iguana.
At other places, I feel like you get a foam party at 3:00, right?
Right. We
They're
get like
bringing you
iguana
shots.
conservation
We get
efforts slideshow.
they're worldly recognized for helping to reforest part of what's called their dry rainforest region,
Yeah.
which is unheard of. They're doing reforestation. Like,
It's
talk
really, you
about
can
weird and
come
proud.
here and sign up to like kind of volunteer, or like they said later this month in November, they are having a bunch of guests go and help paint the local school. There's a local kindergarten that needs to be repainted, so they'll ask people staying at the resort if anyone wants to go and help.
Talk about
So
weird and proud. I love that.
yeah, I was like,
So
oh my God, I
great.
would totally do that if like, if there's something to do with like building the rainforest, or like helping with the coral, or just playing with the iguanas. They're so cute.
You can be in charge of the iguanas.
They have 46 iguanas here on site, and there's only like 76 of these type of iguanas left in the world, and they're mostly Fiji. Like, they mostly live in Fiji, and so we've been able to pet them, and it's really cool. The biggest difference between Jamaica too, that I was just gonna say, is also like the food here. And someone was asking too about the food situation.
Oh,
I will say the food here is amazing. Obviously, it's all like local, super fresh. But I know some people who are extremely picky eaters that would hate it. Because like at lunch you have 3 lunch options. Like, they give you like, there's like a seafood, a meat, and a vegetarian. And then you can always order like by the pool. They have like pizza, hamburgers, like some salads and fries. But like, if you're a soup or you don't eat a ton of like stuff outside your comfort zone, I could see that you would be like, oh, this is,
yeah, that's on you.
But that's on you, right? Like, and I think if you come to a place
Just to
like
be
this,
mean, that's on you.
You would know that like you need to be open to trying new foods. And like, it's like their dinner. They have 3 at night for dinner. There's 3 options normally. Again, like a meat option, a seafood option, a vegetarian, and then they also have like some sort of like special meal that you can share. But that's that's
But again,
what you order. Like, there's really nothing else unless like
they made you scrambled eggs this
yeah,
morning.
like one time I was like, can I just have like some scrambled eggs? Like same thing for breakfast.
Done.
They'll make, if they have it, they'll make it. But like, you can't be like, hey, can I have like, like a turkey and cheese sandwich? Like, they don't have turkey sandwiches here.
Yeah, I don't have turkey here.
So, or like someone was like, oh my God, all I want is a grilled cheese. And like, like they just don't.
I feel like
they would probably make you one of that. But like, there's just stuff like that if you, again, are super picky,
they
you
do
might
have,
be like, oh.
but they do have like at poolside you can order different stuff.
Right,
And you can
like
get the burger or pizzas. They have that type of food if you really want it.
But like that was the thing with Jamaica. There were 7 restaurants. There was like a buffet every night with like 40 things to choose from. It wasn't fresh, and it wasn't like farm to table, and like some of these dishes have been like some of the best things we've had like ever, like some of the best seafood too.
Again, do you want a resort experience
right
at an island, or do you want an island experience and you happen to be at a resort?
Yeah. So one of the other things is like, would we ever do this trip again?
What? Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I would say 100%. I would say the one thing, there's a couple things that I wish we did. Number one, I wish maybe we had extended and gone to New Zealand and Australia. Because when you're out here, so many Americans especially went to like New Zealand or Australia for like a couple days or a week and then came here because it's so close. And like, because, if you're going to make a fucking 30-hour
That's how I would do it. I would go there first because there's way more stuff.
Yeah,
and then you chill out here.
And then you come chill.
Yeah,
and that's what someone.
I wouldn't do it in reverse. I wouldn't go here and then there.
Yeah.
No.
And there was another couple that just happened to be from Stamford, Connecticut, that lived a mile down the street from us.
So crazy. I forgot.
Like, what are the chances? And they went to New Zealand, did New Zealand for a week, and then came here for a week. And I was like, oh, that's really smart. That should be. So if we were to do it again, I would love, because I've always wanted to go see Australia. I've always wanted to go see New Zealand.
Helicopter.
Oh, there's a helicopter that's above us.
Helicopter coming in.
So if you guys hear a helicopter, we're getting taken away. Now,
here's the thing I wouldn't change.
What?
The snorkeling.
Oh,
you know me, I get a little obsessive.
I will say, that's what I wrote down as one of the best things about this place is the water. I have never seen water this clear in my entire life.
Never.
And we've been a lot of cool places. Like we have been a lot, to the Caribbean and Jamaica and Mexico. This water is glass. You can see, like, you don't need to put like snorkel gear on. Like I just stand out in the ocean like up to my knees, and you can just look underneath. There's a million fish on your feet, like sharks swimming by.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool with the snorkel gear.
I know, of course, it's cool.
That's just me.
But I'm like, for the people who are like I get really nervous about snorkeling. I've snorkeled. Like really was one big time we went, but I put
a great job. You did awesome.
But like I saw one fish that looked like a barracuda, and I lost my mind and left and booked it the fuck out of there.
I did not even notice you were gone.
Yeah, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I saw like a really, really long fish that looked like a barracuda, and I was like, and I'm out. But James has been. I mean, you snorkel 3-4 times a day, pretty much.
Yeah, I think 3. I think on average I've gone 3. Some days 4, some days 2.
And there's about 12,000 kilometers of coral here. So these islands are like some of the best snorkeling. Apparently, like it's the best soft coral snorkeling and diving, of course.
I have seen
like scuba diving.
I have
you can do in the world.
never seen so many varieties of fish. Yeah. It's just cool.
Yeah, I think they also I think I was telling you, it was like there's almost 2,000 different types of fish.
That you looked that up. Yeah. I'm glad you did, because I felt like I was exaggerating. I'm like,
yeah,
but I didn't want to make up stories. I'm like,
of types of fish
I think
here.
I've seen literally over 100 types of fish in one snorkel session.
Yeah. So the snorkeling is amazing. If you snorkel and dive, like there are a lot of divers here because the diving here is obviously amazing.
And if you don't snorkel and dive and want to, and you're like listening to this and you're thinking maybe.
Okay, sorry, I kicked something. And then
did we just lose all the rest of it?
No. No, I just kicked and just had to restart.
Again, I know I'm talking about the Fiji snorkeling like yes. I'm part of the snorkeling club, but I'm not. If you kind of I do love snorkeling. And if you haven't tried it and it's so safe here to do because it's right out your back door. You don't have to, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to get on a boat and go somewhere and have a guide to find amazing, safe snorkeling around here.
Yep.
It's right there for you.
Yeah. It's literally, and it's so, because like the resort is small, like it's so private. Like we're sitting out right here in our bungalow. We haven't seen like another human in like a couple hours.
Are there still people here?
Like we literally, like I'll show you guys at the end what our view is and what we've been looking at, but it's like we have our own private beach basically. And you can go swimming. There's coral right out our back door. So that has been really, and the water, the views, it feels like you are like in a postcard, like in a desktop wallpaper.
Well, we are staring at the Castaway Island right now.
And so I was going to say,
we literally are in a movie.
Really cool thing that we did was the island that they filmed the movie Castaway is like, we can see it from our resort, from the hotel.
We not just see it. We
literally
kayak to it.
We kayaked. So the other day, again, if you saw on Instagram, you might have seen this, but we kayaked to the Castaway Island, and there's a little beach that you can hang out. There's a couple beaches. It's actually kind of big, but the one that was closest, is kind of easiest for us to kayak to, we went to, which technically wasn't where they filmed. Apparently it's on the other side, but still, you get the gist. And we found this abandoned like little house. And so it was like an abandoned shack, and like of course I'm fucking going in there. So we walk like through parts of the jungle to go to the shack to figure out what it is. It's an abandoned research facility that is from 2005. And I was posting about it, and what are the fucking chances that one of you guys messaged me on Instagram and goes,
unbelievable.
Oh, I lived there for 6 months back in 2005. I can tell you all about it. And I was like, wait, what? So this woman from the UK messaged me, and in 2005, she lived there for 6 months in this little research facility. There's 35 people crammed into this building, living there, and they were just doing like basically research on the coral reef, on the clams there. It was funded by the UK. Apparently Prince Charles came to visit, and she was like telling me all these stories, sending me all these pictures, because now it's like been abandoned for 20 years, but it's like back in the day, it was like this gorgeous facility. Apparently, before then, it was like a home for these really rich Australian couple. And it was so fucking cool. And then come to find out, so I'm like, this place is haunted. Like, there's just like some weird vibes. Like, a place like this just doesn't like shut down. Like, whenever you see a place that's kind of like just like people up and left, like there were bottles of liquor still there, like there was a suitcase, there was mattresses. We're like, this is fucking weird. Apparently, a tragedy did happen. Someone died.
A tragedy, you say?
A tragedy. Someone died, a young kid, and they got shut down and they lost their funding. So James and I are like, we're going back. So after the cyclone, we are going to try and go back and go check it out some more. But what a fucking crazy place. It's like this place has just been so fucking cool. Like, just because like that's the thing too, like the resort gives you free kayaks and canoes to like go and check out the other islands. So like, and there's so many little islands, as long as like you can kayak, like we can bop around all these little spots. I mean, just so fucking cool. We've been living our best life. Minus the cyclone. That is the one scary thing. So we woke up this morning and it was raining, and I'd seen on the weather forecast that it was going to be raining today and tomorrow. And it has, like, we're in the middle of the Pacific. Like, most days, like around 4 or 5 o'clock, a storm comes through and it'll rain. And, like, just with all the humidity in the air, it'll rain and kind of be passing, and then it's fine. We woke up this morning and it was raining pretty hard. And we're like, that's weird. We go to breakfast and they're like, all right, if you guys could stay till like 8:30, we're going to do a weather announcement. And we're like, okay.
Not normal.
Yeah, we're like, that's weird. And they're like, yeah, we really want everyone to be here for this announcement. And we're like, okay. And they're like, so there is a tropical depression that we are thinking is going to turn into a cyclone, and it's headed right towards us. And basically, if you're like, we're, again, like kind of like on our own little private beach, one of like the bungalows that's on land, they have overwater, what they call burrs, or like little bungalows. Everyone from those had to evacuate. If you're leaving today or tomorrow, all of the cruise ships and all the ferries are gonna be canceled. So they're like, you have to leave right now. So they evacuated everyone that was supposed to leave later today or tomorrow. And then they're like, and if you're here, like we're here till Thursday. So like we really don't have to worry about that. And Thursday is supposed to be gorgeous. Like, of course, the day that we end up leaving, it's supposed to be like a stunning day. So we're basically here, but they're like, so just like get ready to like hunker down, and we have games. We don't even have like TVs in the room. So they're like, there's a main TV in the lobby if you want to come watch a movie. They're like, we might need to be doing room service in your rooms because we don't know if we want people walking outside. So we're hunkering down. So, I mean, this will come out Monday. Maybe the cyclone will be over. I don't know. But so we'll keep you posted. Hopefully we're still alive by the time this comes out. Either way, it's going to be great content, and it's going to be a great story to tell. Is there anything else, James, you want to add?
So if we're nearing the end,
yes,
we want to hear about your vacation experiences.
Yes, I know. Obviously, we didn't get to do secrets this round because the technology and editing of it takes a while.
And the Wi-Fi isn't the strongest.
Wi-Fi is really not
that great. Which is a good thing.
So I'm kind of even like nervous that this is going to upload. So,
and I would love to hear about. I hate
what's
to
the craziest thing that happened on your vacation?
And maybe it was a bad vacation that you, because you're so positive, have spun into a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Did you have a poor, bad vacation experience?
Or maybe just a negative vacation experience. I've had a bunch of those too. I was telling James like some of the times. And one of the reasons I'm so nervous about snorkeling is because I got stung by a jellyfish once and like had to go to the hospital. So we want to hear like, what are your craziest vacation stories, your weirdest vacation stories? Call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. We love you guys.
Oh, it's raining now.
Yeah, it's pouring now. So
we can barely see the Castaway
I know.
Island.
I literally can barely see the islands. My laptop is starting to get rained on. So we love you guys so much. Stay tuned. Hopefully we don't die. And we'll see you soon. Love ya. Bye.